Okay. So, we're back. Let us know if you can hear us. So, we're back. Let us know if you can hear us. And, yeah. Rick says, I think I might be fixed. We can hear you.
Ooh,
Amazing!
wow.
That only took 26 minutes. Alright, so what I did is I just had to close Dreamlabs OBS and open good old OBS Studio and just start streaming from there, and hopefully next time I'll be able to do a tech test and fix it. And yeah. So we won't have the fancy chats or anything in this episode, but you guys can live without that, I assume. So let's just go ahead and say welcome to the CosCast, episode 146. I am Anita, your main host, and with me I have my co-host,
Tonya!
Yay! And our special guest, Rojano Photo. Welcome! And I'm so sorry!
It's okay. It's fine.
We've
It was
all...
a fun experience.
Yeah, it's an experience for sure. So, well, I think we're just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Usually we do a segment about cosplay progress. I haven't been working on anything cosplay related during the past month. And neither has Tonya. I don't know if you've been working on anything special lately, Paul?
Not when it comes to cosplay, but
No.
I've done a couple of photo shoots. It's been great.
Oh, awesome. Any particular themes or characters?
I think the last one I shared was my Horizon Zero Dawn shoot with Rojano Creation.
Ah, right. She's an amazing alloy.
Indeed.
Looking forward to see more pictures from that. Rick says that it's not the CosCast without tech problems. It needs to be an emote. Yes, by now it should be. For some reason, there is always something wrong with the live stream. No matter how much we prepare, no matter how many tech tests we run, there is always a fucking problem. So, I'm not angry. I have no anger management issues today whatsoever. So we're just gonna jump straight into the main theme of the day, I think, which is talking about you and cosplay photography and why you think more people should get into cosplay photography. But before we start asking questions and getting super serious and stuff, I'm going to try to see if we can screen share some of the pictures that you sent us of the amazing photos that you've been taking during the past few years.
This is actually all from this summer.
Oh, right. So it's all new stuff.
So it's all new stuff, yeah, that I've been sharing around.
Let's see. I'm going to see if I can fix it. There we go. Yeah. That was what I was trying to do at all. It's been a long time since I've done anything in the regular OBS, apparently. Okay, so I'm just gonna add another screen. There we go. And... Ha! There! Now we're in business. There we go.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey.
So, yes. So the first photo here is, who is this?
This is Shiriyasu Cosplay on Instagram. And she is cosplaying as Diane from Seven Deadly Sins. And this is a photo that was taken during Narcon summer. And I kind of just want to share like what I was thinking with this photo, if that's fine. Yeah. So this photo, the character is a giant. So I wanted to show the make her look taller, so that you have to have like it could actually be a giant in the show, and this is why the angle taken downward and up. So you have a lot of trees, you don't show any ground, and have a lot of their back full grounds to emphasize.
Yeah. I'm not sure if everyone got that because your voice got kind of robotic for a moment. I don't know what that was about, but for those of you who didn't get that, the shot was done so that the character would look like a giant, because in the show she's a giant, so there's an angle from the ground up.
Why did my voice fail?
I don't know.
Is it fine now?
This episode is cursed.
Apparently.
Yeah, there's no other reason for it. Something must be up. But anyway, Cece says that Rojano Photo, more like cosplay photography wizard. So you have fans.
Thank you so much.
You have fans in the chat. But no, it's a great photo, and at least it looks like she's dressed for NatCon, because NatCon is always super warm.
It's very hot. I don't recommend people wearing big suit of armor in that kind of weather.
No, but they still do.
They still do.
For some reason. Crazy people. The next one is We and Pheromony from Fandomily Cosplay as Crowley and Aziraphale from Good Omens.
And this is basically them doing acting out how the characters would be with each other. And this was taken at Toricon in the very fancy Sky Bar.
Ah, right. Yeah, the Sky Bar there is super fancy.
They actually bought the drinks, so we could actually sit there and do the photo shoot. Expensive cider, I guess.
Yeah. I've seen the price chart in that bar. It's kind of stiff.
But one thing I would like to mention is that there is an emphasis on Pheromony, where she has a lot of shadows in the background, and V, where she has a lot of lights coming from the window. Just a little bit like a nod to the characters.
Yes, very appropriate. It looks like a very simple shot at first glance, but it has a lot going for it in the background and.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, it's a really good photo. Fandomily Wee says this is true magic heart, which it is. Let's see. And the next one is Ford from Critical Role, portrayed by the Fuzzy Teddy In, who, well, I mean, that must have been cold. You threw him in the water, or did he throw himself?
I would say he threw himself into the water. I will just say that this was his idea 100%. Even though I wish to take credit for it, this was his idea, and I don't know, like, he's so dedicated to the cosplay photos, and this was really cold. And there was also raining, so you can't actually see it here, but like right after we took this shot, it started to rain, and we had to get out of the water, or he had to get out of the water.
Yeah, I mean, he would have probably gotten, like, what's it called?
Hypothermia?
Yes, hypothermia.
I would like to point out that this is probably my favorite photo that I've ever taken. I really love, I'm a huge Critical Role fan myself. And,
same.
Yeah, and when I got the opportunity to take this photo, like, there was no question. Like, we were going to do it, and we were going to make it awesome. And yeah, like we tried to stay true to the character, and we tried to have a really unique background.
Oh, it definitely stands out. Cosplay Studio says, I loved the Ford photos, and poor Teddy. And Fandomily Wee says, this is the most badass cosplay photo of the year. Dedication! And Charlie's Dragon says, hi! So yeah, people are liking it in the chat for sure. The next one is Alloy with Ravaniel, which you talked briefly about just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so this is from one of my most recent shoots, and I've been since she started making the costume over a year ago. I think she started working on it during January, not this year but last year. And I knew from the start that we were going to do a shoot like this, and I wanted, or she and we wanted to have a proper head, like a real prop in the photo, So we got someone had the effect on Instagram to make the actual head of the creatures in the game
That's very cool.
to use as prop with you can see like the red light in the eyes. That's all there. And it will also change color. And there's going to be more photos from this shoot. I just haven't been able to get around to it yet.
No. But who could blame you? There's been a lot of cons during the past few months.
Yeah, and NerdCon and TorCon tends to be really close together. Yeah. So I get a huge backlog from those kind of cons.
Yeah, totally, I get that. But this is an amazing photo, and Charlie's Dragon in the chat says that it's awesome too. So the colors are so very up Tonja's alley.
Yes, I love autumn colors. Autumn is my favorite.
So like if you look at a lot of my photos, there's a lot of autumn colors in my photos in general. I love the orange leaves, and I don't know if that's my thing, but it's something I frequently go back to when I want to edit photos.
I think we all have like preferred color palettes. Mine is, I'm not gonna lie, blue is something that goes through most of my cosplays, my photos, my hair.
I feel like your hair is giving it away. Yeah. So.
Yeah, kind of. But cold colors look good on me. I think this is the last one. I'm not familiar with these characters, but it looks like an anime.
It is an anime or a manga, but this is from my favorite show, which is called The Promised Neverland, which everybody should check out. By the way, it's great. But I just want to show off the photo because. If you know anything about the show, or if you've seen anything from the show, you would see there's a lot of emphasis on a character interaction here in this photo. The way the girl with the orange hair is standing, making her look like she's, hey, what are you reading? And I just wanted to show off, how people could pose to make it look like the picture is alive, instead of just posing for the camera.
Yeah, because that's a very different way of doing photography, is storytelling instead of modeling necessarily.
Yeah, there's a huge difference, and you're not always sometimes you just have to choose which one you want. In this case, I was able to get the story elements with the photo.
Yes. No, I think you did a very good job. Absolutely. It seems to be like a thing going through all of your photos. There's very little cosplay modeling photos, more like cosplay storytelling, or like in a moment that you've captured.
I definitely try to do that. My favorite photos are the storytelling ones, where I can show off the not only the world but the characters themselves and how they are. Of course, you're not always able to do that at conventions, especially, but I try to make it work as much as possible.
No, I think you really do a good job of it. I think you really use the characters and their personalities or their backstories for what they're worth in your photography. Absolutely. Charlie's Dragon says, the color, the focus, the prop, all great additions. And CC Tori says, it's the Ravenclaw in you, Anita, referring to the color choices, I guess.
Are you a Ravenclaw?
Yes, I am. Very much so. Tonja is a Slytherin.
That doesn't show.
No, it doesn't show.
Because I prefer red over green.
What about you? Which house are you?
I'm leaning more towards Ravenclaw, I would have to admit.
Yeah. It's hard to choose a house yourself if you're not completely on the dot.
I'm not 100% into the fandom, but I do love the world, the books, and everything like that. So I like everyone else, has some kind of knowledge with it.
Yes.
Some kind of experience with it.
Yeah. It's hard to find someone who doesn't know what Harry Potter is.
It's true.
Okay, so people have seen some of your amazing work. So if they hadn't seen your work before tonight, now they have. There's no excuse. Go follow him on social media. It's at Rojano Photo on Facebook and Instagram. Do you have any other places where people can stalk you online?
Not at the moment.
No, but that's fine. At least Facebook and Instagram, sure thing. Rojano Photo on both of them, so it's fairly easy. Let's see. So, Tonja, maybe you want to just jump in and ask some questions?
sure do. So, first question is, how long have you been doing cosplay photography, and how did you get into it?
So cosplay photography for me was really fun journey back in, I believe, 2012 and 13. And
So,
sorry,
question
sorry,
is, how long have you been doing cosplay? Did you
sorry, audio. It's
I
really weird.
cannot
It was,
understand anything that you guys are saying right now because you're both robots.
I believe 12. Yeah. What's it doing now? No?
what?
Come on, the stream. Work. No?
Oh no!
Wait. Does it work? Does it work now?
Yes, they can hear you now, so try again.
Yeah, I noticed. I didn't have to. This stream, god damn it. No, just kidding. Just kidding. You're doing a wonderful job. It's not your fault. It's technology as usual.
It's the technology, obviously. It's not our fault.
I'll try to answer the question again.
Yes.
We'll see how it goes this time.
Yeah.
But I started doing cosplay photography back in 2014 or 2012. That I started with Rojano Photo in 2014, and the reason that I started to do cosplay photography was because I went to conventions and I didn't want to cosplay myself, but I wanted to have something to do at a convention. And I started taking photos to share with people, like, hey, I went to this cool convention, you should check it out. And that slowly but surely went from hallway photos of cosplayers to doing more shoots in the later years. So when I started with Rojano Photo, it was me trying to do something at a convention and be as good as I could be with this thing.
Yeah, but that makes a lot of sense, because if you don't cosplay and you're not part of a group or something like that, there's not necessarily that much to do at conventions except attend panels or contests.
And I'm not really big into panels, so I had to pick something, or I didn't have to, but I wanted to. And for me, cosplay photography is pretty much everything. It's a way for me to express myself and things that I want to show people. But it's also a way for me to meet new and amazing people and crafters and get to work with them. And in the end, we all want to do the same thing. We want to make badass photos to show to other people. So
we do. We totally do. CC Tori says, "Are you actually robots, though?"
No, I'm not a robot. I promise.
No, none of us are. Rick Make Stuff says, "Best stream ever."
Oh, that's good.
That's good. Someone's having fun. That's good. And Charlie's Dragon has just posted 3 robot emojis in the chat. So,
oh no.
I'm glad we're able to entertain you guys, if nothing else. And hopefully some of this comes out, legible. So, but I think your audio has been good for a while now, so you're safe.
You should just
fingers crossed.
You should just stop me whenever something happens.
I will.
All right. So you have talked a little bit about it, but you could maybe elaborate more about what your favorite cosplay photos.
Sure. Because as I told you guys, I love doing stories or tell stories with my photos if I have the opportunity, of course. But also, I, like everyone else, have preferences like with video games, anime characters, and these kind of things. And it's easier for me to work with things that I already know. Let's say if I see a character from a video game I just played, I will obviously be a little bit more hyped on doing the photos because I know what to do with this character. And the way that I go around with that when I don't know the character is that I ask the cosplayer. I usually ask them to tell about the character, what kind of setting it is, and from that I can usually create a little bit of a story where I can do my favorite kind of photography.
Yeah. And do you think more people in the community should pick up the camera at conventions?
Definitely. And this is something that I've been telling people every time I had the opportunity, including at the panel I held at Fansacon last year, which was something of a similar theme to this this podcast, but everyone should be able to do cosplay photography. Everyone should be able to do photography, but it's not that hard to get into it as you might think. I don't know if I should tell about that now or yeah.
You can share any good tip to.
Yeah, I mean, just keep the communication flowing. It's not really a big deal.
Well, we still have good audio, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, just a moment. Yeah. So, I think one of the bigger misconceptions about cosplay photography is that you have to have a good, expensive camera. You have to have years of experience from some photography school. I never learned photography from like anyone but myself and some friends. So there's a lot of self-learned cosplay photographers in the community, and they're all great people when it comes to asking for help. And this is one of the common mistakes that people make when they start out, is that they don't ask people for help, and they should definitely, because everyone in this community that I've met, which is a lot of people, are very, very friendly and very helpful when it comes to telling you or teaching you what proper ways to do things. So yeah, and also YouTube is a great resource. There's a lot of videos, tutorials. If you're a cosplayer, you know already about this, but yeah.
No, but I agree. I mean, the cosplay photography community is so closely linked to the cosplay community, and both niches are very open and very helpful and very friendly. So it's not really hard to, switch between the two. I mean, I didn't study photography either, and I do photography every once in a while at conventions and stuff. And
and you do great.
Thank you.
Love your photos, by the way.
Thank you. I'm not as good with the storytelling yet as you are. I think I could do better in that department, but
I have to stop you there, Anita, because that's bogus. Because, I mean, do you remember the photo shoot you had with me and Runner of Cosplay?
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
That is a series of that's history.
Yeah, no, that one shoot is very good. But anyway, I mean, when I picked up a camera, I didn't know anything about photo editing or about, I knew color and composition and stuff because I went to art school. So I had a little bit of, help from that. It helps.
Yeah.
But beyond that, you just have to pick up a camera and practice. And as you said, it doesn't have to be an expensive camera.
No, it can even be your cell phone. And this is a great point I was about to make. But using a cell phone can be a great way to start off, because our cameras right now are really, really good at taking photos. This wasn't the case when I started out. But like in the later years, the cameras have been exceptional taking good photos. And I know several cosplayers who do this themselves and get great results. And also, like, even if you don't have the money to buy an expensive camera, just get a cheaper one and start out with that, because that was what I did. I actually borrowed my dad's camera the first time around. And as you do it more, you will eventually get better, get a better camera, get better gear, because you wanna expand your already learned skill sets.
So, but you got a camera, and you want to start to taking cosplay photos.
Sure.
How to capture a great shot?
There's a lot of different ways to explain this. But my favorite thing is to have a good communication with the cosplayer. Like, if you ever had a photo shoot with me or seen me taking photos, I chat a lot when I do photos. Like, I talk with the cosplayer, I make them feel comfortable, talk about the series they're cosplaying from.
That is so important.
Yeah, make people feel comfortable, and they will relax. And when people relax, you'll get so much better photos, because then they will focus more on what they're on their poses and what they're supposed to do. And even as a photographer, you should pose in front of the mirror and try to figure out what angles work, because this is something people tend to forget. But like, it's not always that the cosplayer are able to they're not able to look at themselves while they're posing, right? So to be able to give them directions while they're posing could make the difference between a good shot and a great shot.
Absolutely. No, one of the that's I used to take portrait photography for the last job I had, like for articles online and stuff. And that's I would also do the same thing, like talk to people, joke a little, make them laugh and relax, and not be so like nervous and uptight. It's super important because often you get very odd, strained pictures if you don't have comfortable people in front of the camera. And
Yeah,
and angles, just not being afraid of telling people like, okay, if you just could you just move a little bit that way or lift your chin, or because
it can make all the difference.
yeah.
And also something for beginners that I just thought about is that you should stay away from the sun
Yes.
while you're in your starting phase. I'm not saying you can't get your photos in the sun, because you can, but it takes a little bit more of experience. You have to kind of know what you're doing there. While you're taking photos in the shadow, it's much more forgiving because you get like a cleaner face, a cleaner light on the costume, and it's much easier to edit later.
Yeah.
And also like picking up Lightroom or Photoshop is a huge recommendation by me. Also, you should be able.
Lightroom.
Lightroom is good.
Yeah, I mean, just for a simple, if you don't want to do anything super fancy with magical effects and you just want to brighten things up, or Lightroom is great.
Yeah, it's very easy to use. It's almost like using like the Instagram posting filters. It's very easy to use. You can get some great results by just color grading in Lightroom.
Yes, very good. Yeah. So, what kind of talked a little bit about what type of camera you can use, but if you should recommend something for beginners, what would you recommend?
I would just recommend using any SLR camera, like Spider Effect, if you're Norwegian. Any one of those are good. Like, it doesn't have to be anything expensive or fancy, just to get you started. And again, phones are much better now than they used to be, and you can still use them for great results. You can even take photos at your phone and edit them later in Lightroom or Photoshop if you want to. Like, just transfer them over to your computer, or you can even do it at your in your phone if you want to do that. So you have like a much more flexible system now than you used to have.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of options if you want to start out. That's very easy to get into.
Because I mean, like, not a lot of people may know that, but like online magazines and newspapers and things, a lot of the video content they do these days are captured on phones.
Yes,
they don't really need to bring big cameras with them out in the field when they're making videos. They just bring a tripod and a phone stand that you can bend around, and that's all you need, and maybe a microphone. So just using your phone isn't bad, or as long as you have like a okay resolution, that's all you need, really.
Yeah, really. I think that as you get more into it, you will figure out what works for you. And but starting out with a phone or cheap camera is great. You should really go for it. And even like you could ask someone for tips and tricks while you're at a convention. They'll usually help you out with that. If you don't know anything about settings, they will teach you at least to get the basics. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just thought about something that I should mention.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, because I got this question after my panel at Second last year about if there's one thing, like one tip or trick you would give someone starting out the cosplay photography. And my tip is to get, you probably, like, if you're in the community, you probably have a friend who's a cosplayer. And starting doing small photo shoots with your friend, like find a friend that's willing to do that, will help you immensely. And like, even I work with a lot of different people, and even I have some people that I just go to again and again because I love working with them, and I'm comfortable, just hanging out with them. And that's a great way to start out if you're a little bit like shy for like talking with strangers. This is a good way to start out. Just find yourself a friend who does cosplay, and you can practice on each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do all the time. Like, at conventions, I always take pictures of Sunniva and Tonje because they're my friends and they're close at hand and like, hey, do you guys want to take pictures? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's do it. And
yeah, now you're shopping.
yeah, okay. Liana says, finally home. Took forever. Been listening all the way. This is such an interesting topic.
It sure is.
No, I agree.
And I love talking about photography and how to get into the community because it's such a great like. It's so nice to have people in the community.
Yeah, but how do you like? If you see someone at a convention that you don't know, but you love their cosplay and you want to photograph them, how do you approach them? Because I think a lot of people are maybe afraid of just asking random people if they can take their picture.
Something that I've learned the last few years is that cosplayers are as eager as you are or more to get their photos taken. And most people actually, unless they're eating, probably won't say no because they love having their photos taken. And I think that you should just go out and ask. Maybe if you're a little bit shy on approaching the person, you can send them a text on, let's say, their Instagram page or their Facebook page. I've done this before. It works every time, as long as they see it. And that's a good way to just start a conversation. And maybe you can say something about their costume, and then the conversation will flow naturally.
Yeah.
If you keep talking about the costume.
That's a good tip. Start on social media. I mean, that's how we make friends now anyway.
The sad truth, yeah.
Yes. It's not like when you were 6 and you could just walk up to someone in the kindergarten or whatever and just say, "Hey, my name is so and so. Do you want to be friends? Cool, let's play."
The good old days.
Yeah. Very strange. So we've gone through a little bit of the tech and a little bit of how to get started. But how do you choose what cosplays to photograph for yourself? Because you get a lot of pictures that you have to edit after conventions, especially during seasons. So do you need to have costumes that are very interesting to you for some reason to, stay motivated to edit everything?
Yeah, okay. This is a very broad topic, but yes. I'll try to shorten it down. For me, the most important thing is that you have a cosplay where I can get I can get an idea for the photo. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that I love myself or something that I am a huge fan of, but it has to be I have to get the idea. So when I'm talking to someone, I might get the idea while we're talking about how to do this photo, because it's true that I take a lot of photos during, especially the con season, and I think I've edited something along the lines of 60 photos from NARCon and 20 from Toricon so far, and there will be probably the double. Not sure yet.
Yeah, that's a lot of photos.
There's a lot of photos, and then trying to get these photos out to people in a reasonable time. It's also very difficult. But I usually choose my who I take photos of by if I can get an idea for the costume, and of course, if there's a friend who's asking, then of course I'll do it.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not very, very tired, I'll do it. I try not to say no to anyone. It's very, very hard sometimes.
Yes. I mean, sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you just want to go sit down and have something to eat, and you just can't. That happens, and we're all human.
Yeah, and there's this rumor about cosplay photographers being really bad at eating at convention. It's kind of true. Yeah.
I think that's true for cosplayers too, because there can be after breakfast, suddenly the time is 5 in the afternoon, and you're like, oh, I haven't eaten since 8 o'clock this morning. Maybe I should grab something.
Convention people are just bad at eating in general.
Yes, really. Let's see. Rick says, I think everyone forgets that people like to show off their costumes. Yeah, sometimes when you're standing there and you have to talk to people, you forget that.
I think actually that's a good point, a great point.
It is. Ryudai says, I love taking photos of other cosplayers, but I'm too shy to ask, so it always ends up being being few with friends.
And for that, I recommend, like, if you see a cool costume and you know who they are, send them a message on their social media page, and most people are very, very friendly.
Yes.
When it comes, even when they say no, they're very friendly, and almost everyone says yes because they want to have cool photos taken of their costume.
They do, in general, they do. And yeah, I mean, I'm shy too. I have a big issue talking with people that I don't know. So that's one of the reasons why we started this whole show, is so that we can talk to people online and not have to talk to them for the first time face to face.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the reasons why we did this, because we were like, yeah, we're too afraid to talk to people at conventions, so maybe we should start interviewing them online.
But like in the recent years, you've been doing live shows at Toricon, for example.
Yeah.
So
it's evolved.
Yeah. Expanding.
Yes, expanding. Let's see. Tonya, did you write in the chat that you mostly like to have pictures taken when you've made the costume yourself?
Yeah, well, it's only you and me that's
I was just Sunniva could have been online, logged on. She does that sometimes. And she writes in the chat.
No, but it's me. I mostly like to have my picture taken if I have made a costume that I'm proud of, or if I'm pleased with how I look in a costume.
Yeah. Well, that's important too, for sure.
It's important to feel comfortable when getting your photos taken, and if you're not feeling comfortable, that like let's say you're not having a good day, then just say no to photos. Say that you're sorry, but another time maybe.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. I think we've gone through all of our specific questions. I'm just going to remind the audience that if you have any specific questions about photography or posing or composition or color or stuff like that, anything, just type it out in the chat and we will address it as soon as we're able, because that's what this show is for.
Yeah. As long as it's not about, bowel movements and stuff like that.
No, we did get a question about that last episode, and we did not reply to that. Or at least I didn't.
Really?
I think Tonya did, though, maybe. I'm not sure. No, we just had a random visitor drop by and with random questions. It was very, very funny.
It happens.
It happens.
I would also like to point out that if you have any questions later, if you're watching this episode later, I don't know if you're putting up this episode on YouTube or...
Yeah, we put them up on YouTube afterwards.
Yeah. So if you see this episode later and you want to ask me a question, just drop me a message on social media and I'll always be happy to answer. No matter what it is, considering cosplay photography.
Oh, I have one question that isn't in the show notes, and that is... how different is a con shoot to like a booked shoot or a location shoot, so to speak? Like, how do you approach them differently?
Yeah, for some kind of strange reason, I knew you would ask that question. I don't know. But anyway, there is a huge difference between doing a shoot and a shoot outside a convention. And I think like doing a location shoot is much more planned. You have the big difference is that you get to choose where you take the photos and how much time you're spending on it.
What time of day, what kind of light you're having.
So you can be much more flexible with what kind of photos you can take. Because when you're at a convention, people tend to have panels they want to go to, cosplay competitions. They want to see all these kind of different things. And it's more like, can I get an idea here and now? But while you're doing a location shoot, you have the opportunity to plan this out. You can actually go and location scout for different places, and you can find that place that suits this cosplay. And I usually handle them in a way that I talk to someone maybe a few weeks in advance. Hey, you want to do a shoot? Maybe we can find a place. And then as we get towards that day that we're setting, we can figure more out like how much time we want to spend on it, and do we need to drive somewhere, or do we need to take like a boat, a ferry, for example. But yeah, like but I think that of course you do get better photos at location shoot. Like I won't lie about that. It's much easier to get better photos because you are way more flexible with, again, the light and location, and you can find a place that suits the cosplay much better. And also, people are not as tired, because when you take photos at a convention, people are really tired sometimes, especially by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So avoiding that,
yeah,
it feels great.
Yeah, that's like a little cosplay pro tip. If you're booking a shoot for a convention, do it early in the day before your makeup has had time to run off your face, before you have a food baby, before you've been all sweaty in your costume. Like, do it early in the morning before anything else happens, because then you still look your best and the photographer will be able to get a better picture.
And also, I actually have a funny story about that. The funny story I have about that kind of thing is that I was having a photo shoot with someone that was cosplaying a zombie type of character. And I asked the person if they wanted to do a shoot early in the day, and they were like, "No, I want to do it as late as possible because I want to look as terrible and sweaty as possible, as humanly possible." And the shoot turned out awesome because of that.
So the exception is zombies or other undeads, anything that's supposed to look gross.
And also, I just want to point out that also a cool thing is that if you're looking for something very special in your photos, maybe you should check out like the end of the day when the sun is going down, the golden hour, because it's very easy to take photos in that kind of light, and it always looks great.
Yeah.
So you should check that out if you want to do some different with your photography that maybe you haven't tried before.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to do any golden hour shoots yet, but I really want to, because the light, as you say, is very special during that specific small window of time.
Yeah.
The twilight hour.
Yes. Were you about to read from the chat?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Charlie's Dragon says, not really a question, but I've heard some cosplay photographers are unwilling to give the photos to the cosplayer, or demanding money for it when the cosplayer asked to take the photos and a cosplayer took time to post. If it's a booth where the cosplayer knows they have to pay, that's fine. But just walking up to someone, ask to take their picture, and not giving them the photos, which is not good at all. And Rick Make Stuff says, not cosplay, but I've heard of the same happening at Airsoft. The site invites a photographer, then charges the players for pictures.
Okay, so I've heard about this, but not in the Norwegian community. I've heard about it in the English community.
Yeah.
When I've been to MCM, but this doesn't really happen in Norway at all. I don't know anyone who's doing this. I know people who do paid shoots at a convention.
Yeah.
And all of those are pre-planned, and they know it before they actually get to the convention. So everything is done very cleanly like that. I don't take payment at the convention, but there are other people who do, and that's fine. But it's done in a very very good manner. It's like nothing like this.
No, I've never heard of that happening in Norway ever. I think it's mostly in the UK and the US where cosplay is more of a business.
It is, but it's more also like it's a bigger community there. Norwegian is a very it's a very small community in compared to like even our neighbors, the Swedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you do that in Norway, you will be quickly, called out for it.
Yeah, I think so.
You will. Yeah.
Everyone will hear about it. Like, because the thing is, how it usually works in Norway is like Cosplay Studio will have a booth at a convention where you can pay to have pictures taken, and they have a price list and everything, and that's fine. Or photographers like Okami or myself or Paul will post about it online that, hey, I'm taking commissions for this and this convention. These are my prices. This is what you get. And unless that is stated beforehand, if people ask you at conventions if they can photograph you, it's not something that they will charge you for. That's not how it works.
I never heard about this happening in Norway. It could have happened, but like It sounds really strange to me. Sorry.
Yeah, it does. It sounds so weird. It sounds like a money grubbing scheme, and it's not okay in my book. No.
I think photographers should get paid for the work they're doing, as long as everything is done cleanly. Like it's like someone is doing a painting for you or someone is drawing for you. I think it's fair to ask for payment, but as long as it's done in a proper manner and prices are listed beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, because if you're going to do something that you're going to charge people for, you always start with, this is a charged commission, or this is a service that I charge for. This isn't just something I do for fun, and if people aren't upfront with you about that, then don't bother working with them, because it's not worth it.
No,
because then they're not being honest with you.
No, again, like someone said, like if you are doing this in Norway, you will quickly get called out by the community. Because people are very open about that kind of stuff. If something happens that shouldn't be in our community, we are very vocal and very good at using our groups for these kind of discussions.
Let's see. Liana says in the chat that I really would want to do more cosplay photo shoots, both as a photographer and a cosplayer, but I live so freaking far away from people. And one thing I find hard at conventions at times is getting photos taken, as it is so scary to ask others. So that's an issue. Living far away from people, of course, will be difficult, but I think if you travel to Oslo or anywhere else where other cosplayers live, like to visit family or friends or to run errands, then just book a shoot while you're going, because then you can, double task. Or multitask. And don't just go for one thing, go for several things and set things up when you're going somewhere anyway.
True. I've actually done this myself and it works wonderful. So yeah.
So that's one potential solution to your problem. And if you're afraid of asking other people for pictures, you can always ask me. As long as I'm at the convention and I have my camera with me, it's fine.
This also works for me myself, but if you want your photos taken, come up to me at a convention or ask me beforehand. If you ask me beforehand, there's a higher chance that I'll find some time that we can actually do it.
Yes.
Because when people ask at convention, it doesn't actually matter who you are. Things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people don't always have the time at the convention because they're usually already pre-booked. They've already talked to other people and I have time slots. Sorry, I can't do it. I would love to, but so yeah. Send Paul a message before the conventions and ask. Pro tip.
I'll gladly do it, as long as I have time.
Yeah. So that actually opens up for a question. What conventions are you attending?
This is a bad year to have this to give me this question because I was actually not going to that many conventions this year in total. I've been to Narcon, I've been to Toricon. I'm not going to BonsaiCon this year because of work, and I'm not really sure if I'm actually going to any convention the rest of the year. Maybe Spill Expo, but I'll figure that out later. But at the moment, I'm not going to BonsaiCon, so it's going to be sad to miss out on all the fun people. It's one of my favorite conventions. So yeah.
I love Bonsai too, but I can't go this year either, and I'm really sad about it. But such is life.
Yeah, we can cry together about it later. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. Let's see. The discussion has developed in the chat about photographers in the UK. Cece is going to MCM, I think, so she's like, so this is something I should be aware of, and then Charlie's Dragon and Rick is giving her some good advice on the matter.
Yeah. I'm reading the chat right now.
Yeah.
Just checking out. Okay. Yeah. So as a cosplay studio is saying, this has been a problem with photographers at MCM, but these are not people that are part of the community.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen that often, but it will happen. And what you can do is just to ask the photographers while taking the photos. That's the best way to avoid any surprise piece.
That's how freelancing in general works. You never start working before you've negotiated an agreement.
Yeah.
This is the service, this is the price, this is what you get.
And that's how it should be.
Yes. So even just for small photos like that, it's easier and less stressful and less anxiety inducing to just put all the cards out on the table before you start doing anything. Right. Okay. Well, Cece says, R.I.P. We will miss you at Bonsai. We'll miss you too. We have a lot of people who are going to be competing at Bonsai that we know. That I'm very sad that I won't be able to see.
Maybe I can watch the stream.
Yes, I hope so too. Right, so the last question we have in our script is, if you were a fruit or a vegetable, what would you be and why? This is the dreaded question that everyone gets like, oh, that's hard.
This question was not here last time I was on the show.
No, it was not.
I would probably be a strawberry, because then everyone would like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's cute. Well, there are very few people who don't like strawberries. I agree with that. And small, sweet, and sometimes sour, which could describe basically the whole CosCast too. Let's see. Cece is very stressed about bonsai, lol.
I think a lot of people are very stressed about bonsai. Yeah.
I think so too. There's a lot of con crunching going on in all of Norway, I think.
And all of Norway suffering together.
Yes. All right. So let's just quickly move into our final segment before we round out today's show. It's a little bit shorter than usual because we got cut short, but we don't want to keep you here for too long and for too late. But I think we got to talk about some important things. And as you said, if anyone has any questions, just send a message after the show or whenever.
Yeah, whenever, really. Mm-hmm. And I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah. Awesome. So, before we log off, have we watched, read, listened to, or played anything we would like to recommend to our fellow viewers?
Yes, I have finally gotten what I've been waiting for months now, and that is the new episodes of Chronicles of Arthdal. It's a fantasy Korean drama show. I absolutely love it. So exciting. Yes.
You're very much into the whole Korean drama genre.
Yeah, especially that one got a lot of hunky dudes.
I still haven't watched most of them. I started watching one, and then it was so hard to focus on it because I can't just listen to it and turn away for a minute and do something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is also why I don't watch enough anime either, because I need to pay attention to it and be glued to the TV, and I usually like to multitask. But it sounds nice.
Very nice.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately, just binging YouTube videos. So Sofia Nygård, I've been watching a lot of her videos. She's funny. And I also binged all 6 seasons of Downton Abbey. So I guess I have to see the movie now.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. But I have a thing for British costume drama. It's a weakness, a guilty pleasure. I don't know. I really like it. So, and I'm on sick leave, so I have a lot of time to kill. Paul, anything you want to recommend?
Not sure if I want to recommend. I've been reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. So if you love huge epic fantasy novels, then go and check out his work, because he's the god of writing, as I see it.
He
and
is
also
amazing.
He's really good. And I also have been spending a lot of time just writing in general. Because that's what I want to do with my life. Yay!
No, I totally get that. Like, the Mistborn saga and also the Way of Kings is epic fantasy at its best.
He has just a really compelling writing style.
Yeah.
And I don't think there is any author at the moment in the fantasy section that is doing like he's consistently giving out books every year, and they're consistently being great.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he's working, but it's brilliant, and I love everything that I read by him.
Yeah, same. Also, Scott Lynch is a fantasy author that I really love. Lies of Loch Lamora, read it now. It's so good. Cece says, "Yeah, Zanita, Downton Abbey is my show." And Toy Story 4 was good. They watched it in Norwegian with subtitles that didn't match. And Rick has been watching Crit Roll and playing World of Warcraft Classic. And Ryurai Art recommends Fateful Fumble, of course. And Modao Zuji, which Neki Cos got her hyped on. That's a Chinese anime / manga series that apparently is really, really beautiful.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah. I know that Rin and Alvi and Ranirav have cosplayed from it before.
I think I've taken some photos of that and posted on my Instagram page.
I think you might have.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's basically it for recommendations, it seems. Oh yeah, Charlie's Dragon watched Good Omens. All the good cosplays got me curious, and I finished all 6 episodes in one sitting. Very good. Yes, Good Omens is great. It's so cute.
And also it's a great book as well if you're into reading.
Yes, Terry Pratchett and
Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman. How could you go wrong?
You can't. Really.
You can't. It's impossible. I also started watching American Gods recently because I got Amazon Prime recently. It's very dark. It's very grim. So if you're not into that kind of stuff, maybe not watch it. It's also very slow in its pacing. So if you haven't read the book, you're going to be hella confused, because my hubby was watching it with me. He hasn't read the book, and he was like, "What? Who is this guy? Why is he doing that? And what's happening?" So every 5 minutes, I basically had to stop and like, okay, this is what's happened so far on American Gods. So
I can't wait to watch it. I've been planning to do it for a long time.
It's good. I like it.
And Amazon has been coming out with some really good shows lately, and their plans for the future looks really, really good with the Lord of the Rings adaptation, or the Middle Earth adaptation.
Yeah. And they have The Witcher. No, that's Netflix.
No, that's Netflix. But they do have The Wheel of Time that they're currently making.
That's true. And also The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, season 3 is coming out in December on Amazon. I also recommend that show. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Anything else before we close the show? Ryurai recommends the Steven Universe movie. And she can't get the songs out of her head, so yes, watch that, I guess, if you're into Steven Universe. Okay, so that's it for this time, folks. Next, well, not next week, but the next show would be on the BonsaiCon dates. So we're not going to be doing a show next Sunday. We'll probably be doing it on Monday, I think. We'll get back to you with specific details, but I think we're doing a show on the 7th of October instead of the 6th, because I don't think anyone's going to have the energy to watch us after BonsaiCon on Sunday. I don't think so. And I think also maybe me and Sunniva will still be in Tromsø at that time, so we'll get back to you.
Yes.
Yes. And as always, thank you for watching. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at the CosCast. Follow us for updates on when we do our shows and things like that. And before I forget, go to cosplay.no because all of the winners of the recent conventions like MetroCon and ArthaCon and PokemonCon are up on their website. So if you're curious to see who won and what they won at the individual conventions, they have all the information. It's a really great resource, so go check it out. And with that, I'm going to say bye for now. Thank you to Rojano for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's nice being back. Let's try to do this in another 100 episode or 80 episode or something.
Well, maybe sooner than that, and hopefully that episode won't be cursed.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.